All right, hello everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Christy Henderson. We have a new tornado warning that's been issued for Elbert County, also Hart County until 11:45 this morning. We've been tracking this band of rain and talking about the potential for a tornado. And now we do have a warning that's been issued for a storm in the northern portion of Elbert County. That storm is moving north at about 35 miles per hour. Meteorologist Jackie Brown running the controls. And also, we've both been really studying everything that's been going on the radar so far this morning. And we've been looking at this one since it moved into southern Elbert County, right, Jackie?
Yeah, we have. We've been tracking this storm, and this tropical depression, Fred, has really been just spawning off these tornadoes, tornado warnings, I should say. And that's kind of what you can see with these type of systems. And as we kind of do take a look at the velocity, you can see that little couplet right there, Christy, just to the west of Coldwater. Yep. So it's a pretty distinct rotation going on right now, and we're going to continue to see the possibility of this pretty much throughout like 7 o'clock tonight, right, Christy?
Yeah, that's right. And on the velocity mode, you can see these greens next to the reds. The green indicates the wind driving the rain towards the radar, the reds away from the radar. So you can pick out the counterclockwise circulation. This is where any tornado would be if that has formed. This is north of Elberton. So if you're in Elberton, the storm has already passed you by. You probably had some gusty winds and, of course, torrential rainfall with this. And now this storm is going to work its way into southern Hart County. So going back to the reflectivity mode, you can see that rain is coming down from Hartwell into the northern portion of Elbert County. And again, the dangerous portion of the storm pretty close to the border of Hart and Elbert County at this point. So if we do a storm track, Jackie, as this is moving north at 35, we'll give some folks some ideas of the communities that's going to be impacting. You can see other storms are down to the south and east as well. So we're going to be tracking this all afternoon. And in fact, a tornado watch was issued for our whole area till 7 o'clock tonight. So there's some of the communities there. Bowman by 11:03, Hartwell by 11:19 if that holds together, and the community around Reed Creek by 11:30. So again, one tornado warning in effect right now. Others are possible through the afternoon. This one in effect until 11:45 for northern Elbert County and all of Hart County. Jackie?
That's right. And all of this is because we do have this tropical system that is continuing to push to the north, and it has been bringing all morning long. We've been tracking this, and this is what you can see with these systems. You can see these quick spin up tornadoes. This is not out of the ordinary when you have these tropical storms that make it to the land. We've got a nice moist air mass over us. We've got the wind shear that we're working with, and with that combined, that's a nice setup to see a lot of these possible little spin up tornado warnings. We haven't had any confirmed tornado warnings for today, but again, we do continue to see those tornado warnings pop up. And again, we do actually have that tornado watch that's going to be in effect until 7 o'clock tonight, and that is for all of our counties. So again, we do have that tornado watch in effect for all of our counties, and that was just issued not too long ago by the National Weather Service. So you really got to stay in tune with the weather. And outside of the tornado warnings, one of the things, Christy, that we can have with this is actually some flash floods and some floods.
That's right. With this tropical air mass in place, of course, any of these heavy storms are going to dump a lot of rain in a short period of time on top of rain that we've already had. So flash flooding is a problem for us today, and also a tornado threat. So even though the warning is in effect right now in northeast Georgia, we anticipate that this rain band is going to slowly kind of work its way into the upstate through the afternoon. So yeah, we have rain coming down from Clemson to Anderson, back into Greenville and Abbeville right now. But all of this is going to be increasing eastward, and as temperatures warm up a little more with that change in wind speed and wind direction with height, we have the likelihood of seeing additional tornado warnings issued during the afternoon. Again, just one in effect right now, and this storm is making its way into southern Hart County. So we'll zoom in here, give you a closer look at what's going on. Again, if you're in Elberton, that storm is to your north and you're fine. But if you're in Hart County, it's a different story. Especially around Reed Creek, you should be taking cover right now. You want to go to the lowest floor of your house or apartment, get to a room that's away from windows, and just kind of wait for that storm to pass. It's moving fairly quickly north at about 35 miles per hour, but this is where the tornado would be, right in through here. So it's right on the Hart County, Elbert County line. As that moves northward, rain is going to increase, winds are going to increase around Reed Creek, and eventually, Jackie, it's possible that that storm crosses I-85. So for travelers, if you're in the upstate thinking you're going to drive to Atlanta, be aware that there is a warning in effect, and that storm may very well impact the interstate within the next half hour or so.
That's right, and we'll continue to have this. If you are doing any traveling today, be very well aware of your surroundings, because again, this all morning long, Tropical Depression Fred, it has been spawning various tornado warnings with this, and you can get just these quick little spin-ups, some of them lasting 5 minutes, some of them lasting a little bit longer, but that's kind of what we see with this. And there you can see just to the north of Elberton, winds going away from and towards the radar. And so if you're in Elberton, again, as Christy had mentioned, you're actually out of the clear with this, but if you're in Hartwell, if you're in Bowman, I would definitely be taking shelter, because you are seeing that rotation there where you see the reds and the greens. That's where we're seeing that possibility of that tornado. Nothing confirmed as of right now, Christy, but this has been the story all morning long that we've been seeing these quick spin ups, so it can get pretty dangerous pretty quickly.
Yeah, it can, especially since the circulation associated with Fred may very well move right over the extreme western portion of North Carolina. So our threat is actually increasing this morning and on into the afternoon hours as that leftover circulation influenced the overall wind pattern across the western Carolinas. And again, we've got plenty of moisture to work with. We obviously have plenty of warmth for the thunderstorms to be able to build and to tap in to that change in wind speed and wind direction with height. So again, this warning is in effect until 11:45. So if you're in Hart County, you should be taking cover right now. But even west of here, you can notice these little storms just have that look, you know, where they're trying to take on some rotation, which is why we do anticipate additional warnings, most likely tornado warnings, unfortunately, even into parts of the upstate later today. So for now, the threat is in northeast Georgia. Later today, that might change. And as Jackie's painted in the storm track here, we'll point out a few communities that should be taking cover right now. Hartwell 11:24 is when the worst portion of that storm should be arriving where you are. Livonia by 11:36, and then if it holds together, again, that'll cross 85 and make its way potentially into parts of the upstate. So we've got a lot of rain falling in the upstate right now, but we do anticipate that that band of rain, thunderstorms that's trying to rotate, will actually pivot into the upstate a little later on this afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. And that band that Christy is speaking of is the one that we're seeing just to the south of Elberton. It'll eventually make its way into Greenwood and then into Lawrence and Union County. And another thing that we have with this is the flooding issue. So we do have that flash flood watch that's going to be in effect this evening, and that's going to continue until tomorrow at 8 a.m. So we can see additional heavy rain on top of these tornado warnings that we continue to track. And just keep that in mind. We're having the tornadoes possibilities of these spin-ups, these tornadoes. Right now, again, we do have this tornado warning, and that continues. It was located 7 miles northwest of Elberton, 5 miles east of Bowman, and that continues to move north at 35 miles per hour. And this has been the story of the morning with this tropical system. You have these systems that have this moist tropical air mass. You can have the wind shear, the wind changing with height, and so you get these quick spin-ups with these tropical systems, and that's why we can see more of these today. And we actually have that tornado watch in effect until 7 o'clock for this evening, Christy.
Yep, let's go ahead and take a close look, maybe go to the sweeping radar, try to get a little more detail on street names, you know, smaller communities that people might be familiar with. Of course, this is obviously close to Lake Hartwell in Hart County here, but the thunderstorm has been working northward at about 35 miles per hour. So we're at Highway 77. Again, Hartwell, also Reed Creek should be taking cover. And we talk about getting into a room that's away from windows, not necessarily to protect you from the strong winds associated with any tornado, but what's flying around in the winds with any tornado that might be forming. So you're looking at just an incredible amount of rain right now, high rain rates across Hart County. And again, we'll be on the lookout for the potential of a tornado as we go to the velocity mode again. That really paints the picture clearly, Jackie, on where the rotation is. We notice that it's still south of Hartwell and maybe just west of 77 and a little bit farther to the west here. This is where your rotation is, this counterclockwise swirl. So if you're in Elberton, you're fine. If you're in Coldwater, in the eastern portion of the county, you're fine as that storm is moving northward. But if you're around Hartwell, Reed Creek, you should be taking cover right now as the storm is going to cover some ground in a decent amount of time. I mean, 35 miles an hour, that's moving. And so that's going to be approaching the Hartwell area within the next half hour or so or less. and up towards Reed Creek as well. And again, crossing some highways. So anybody living in this area, anybody you know that lives in this area or is out and about today.
Some people say it's just part of your job.
You can go either way extremely on those.
Yeah, it's kind of like sometimes we're in incentives. It's like
we continue to see this radar indicated tornado warning. So it's capable of producing a tornado. This is what we have been seeing all morning long, Christy, with these tropical systems. And so we continue to watch the radar all the way up until about 7, 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, that's right. And at that point, we expect a lot of this to be closer to the radar, right? The radar is over in Greer, so we're looking high up, but we're seeing a clear rotation with the possibility of a tornado developing. So, you know, as Jackie was saying, now's the time to get to your safe spot if you're in Hart County, especially if you're in Hartwell. The storm's only about 5 or 6 miles down to your south and moving in your direction. So if you're in that area, if you live near 77 south of Hartwell, you should be in your safe spot as well. And as the storm continues to move northward, we'll widen out, maybe pan a little farther south here so people can see Reed Creek on up into maybe southern Oconee County. Maybe we're going to be talking about that next. So if you're in the upstate saying, well, that warning's not for me, keep in mind the threat is actually increasing from west to east during the day today as temperatures heat up and as this tropical rain band pivots into the upstate during the afternoon. So this is our problem area right now. It looks like Elbert County taken out of that warning for good reason, because the storm is now in southern Hart County. And then we do expect that storm to continue to move into some more areas and potentially cause some damage. So again, no confirmation of that just yet, but you should definitely be taking cover from it, right, Jackie?
Yeah, you absolutely should, Christy, because again, with these tropical systems, you can have these quick spin ups. We've been seeing this all morning long as we continue to track tropical depression Fred. We've also been seeing these rain bands that have been having just pockets of heavy rain. Again, we're also seeing these little quick tornado spin-ups with this. So have a shelter, have a plan for this afternoon if you don't have that already, because this is something we see with these tropical systems that do make landfall, and we will continue to see this system perhaps till 7, 8 o'clock at night, still providing us with some warnings. That tornado watch, Christy, is going to be in effect until 7 o'clock, and that's for all of our viewing area.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and show everybody that so they can get a visual on that. That was upgraded just a few minutes ago. Remember, we were just talking about our northeast Georgia counties. Well, now we know conditions are going to be favorable for tornadoes just about anywhere across our viewing area today, and that watch is in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. So this is the warning that we're tracking right now. That one will expire in about 30 minutes, so 11:45 is the time to watch on that. But from that, and again, from the rain band that we've been talking about here, we fully expect additional warnings as we go through the afternoon hours, because temperatures are only going to heat up during the day today. Yeah, we've got a lot of clouds and some rain, but we're still going to be warm enough to be able to support thunderstorms. And as the remnants from Fred move on by to our west later today, that's going to influence that wind shear, that change in wind speed and wind direction with height, and that in turn can help some of these storms to begin to rotate. So this is the rain band we're tracking right now. Here's the storm that's warned for in Hart County. That's moving northward. If you're in southern Oconee County, you should keep an eye on this. From Clemson, Westminster, Walhalla, all these communities should keep tabs on that particular storm. Also, looks like another heavy storm, not severe right now, but maybe one worth watching there in the western portion of Abbeville County. Jackie?
That's right, and so we are obviously looking at the main tornado warning there, but just to the south, as Christy said, just to the east of Elberton, we can see some pockets of heavy rain with that near Calhoun Falls, and then you head further north, that's that's where we actually see the warned tornado warning as that continues to be a threat, especially if you're in a Hartwell. Again, we're seeing pockets of heavy rain with these. Tornado is not the only issue that you have when you have these tropical systems. We've got a ton of tropical moisture that we're working with, so we're also tracking a whole lot of rain. And as Christy had mentioned, once these rain bands continue through and we get that daytime heating, we still have that potential for severe weather, especially for your afternoon time frame. So we've been seeing this all morning long, but we're almost just basically getting started because this is still going to continue to have that chance through the upstate, Christy.
Yep, that's right. And as you can see, we've got this main band that we're tracking, but look at these other rain bands that are trying to form. And as we widen out, and we'll just put this into motion, you'll probably be able to pick out the circulation associated with Tropical Depression Fred. It looks like that's right in through here, so maybe just west of Atlanta, and that's going to make its way northeastward during the day today. And that's also going to help to push a lot of this eastward, and it may help to energize some of these rain bands behind this main one that we're tracking right now. So the warning that's in effect for Hart County is going to expire at 11:45 as we do another storm track to maybe let some folks get a heads up about this, even into southern Oconee County where the warning is not in effect. It's still a storm to keep an eye on because, you know, sometimes these can spin down and then they can spin back up. So it's really a day where you want to make sure that you're up to date on what's going on really by the minute because things can change so rapidly. Again, no confirmation of the tornado, but Hartwell, 11:20 in the next few minutes, moving into Hartwell, South Union, 11:45, and then around Walhalla, you'll want to just at least keep tabs on the storm. We'll see if that warning is extended into Oconee County. Right now, it is not in effect for Oconee County, but it would be around Walhalla shortly after noon. Have a lot of heavy rain in general and thunderstorm activity in northeast Georgia, and it's a rainy day, increasing rain across the upstate. So right now, no warnings in effect, but certainly some tough driving conditions along 85 from Spartanburg County through Greenville and back into Anderson, and then you move into Hart County, and that's where we're seeing the issue with a potential tornado that's making its way through the county there, moving north at about 35 miles per hour. Jackie?
Yeah, and with these systems, again, we've been seeing these little pop-up tornadoes all morning long, so you definitely just have to stay in tune. You can download our 7 Weather app if you need to look at that radar, because this is what we're going to see over the next couple of hours and even into this evening and into tonight. Again, that tornado watch is until 7 p.m. for tonight, and with these tropical systems, you can get those quick spin-ups with those tornadoes. Again, we haven't had any confirmed tornadoes on the ground yet, but we continue to see these pop-up tornadoes, these just quick little spin-ups, I should say, and also we are seeing those heavy rainfalls with this. So lots of rain, the tornadoes, the brief tornadoes as well is kind of what we'll be dealing with all the way through this evening as this tropical system continues through, Christy.
Yeah, and looking at the signature on the reflectivity mode, maybe not as obvious as it was not too long ago. So as we zoom in here and kind of check the velocity mode, we'll keep tabs on how tight that circulation is, or maybe if that's relaxed some. It definitely looks a little wider, you know, broader circulation than it did when you say, Jackie, than it did just a few minutes ago, and it was pretty tight. Still looking at some rotation in here, but again, that warning in effect until 11:45. We'll see if that is discontinued or if it's carried through 11:45. Either way, if you're in Hart County, especially the northern or central portion of the county, you should be taking cover right now as that tornado warning is in effect for your area. Let's go back to the reflectivity mode, kind of give people a wide look at this rain band that we're going to be tracking. Of course, that tornado warning still in effect. We've got heavy weather in Stevens County, in western sections of Abbeville County, eastern Elbert County, another round of some heavy rain. And any of these that are able to grow tall enough can tap in to some of that wind shear that can help some of these storms to begin to rotate. So we do anticipate additional tornado warnings as we go through the afternoon hours. It's just that it's getting started right now in our counties in northeast Georgia. That threat really increasing from west to east during the day today. And again, the remnants from Fred, Tropical Depression Fred, heading northeastward in the direction of the extreme western portion of North Carolina. So a lot of threats today, not just tornadoes, but also the flash flooding we have to think about too.
Yeah, that's right. And we do have that flash flood watch. That's going to be until tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, because we can see additional heavy rain that can lead to the flash flooding. So on top of the tornado threat with this, we also are seeing that flash flooding. And we continue to see, you know, one of the big things that's going to really impact us too, as Christy and I were talking about about earlier is daytime heating. That's also going to help to kind of fuel some of these thunderstorms and possible strong storms, possible those brief tornadoes with this. Again, if they can tap in on that shear.
Some people say it's just part of your job.
You can go either way extremely on those.
Yeah, it's kind of like sometimes we're in incentives. It's like
over towards Toccoa, we've got some rough weather in here. No warnings out yet, but just a heads up that if we are going to see warnings, it's probably going to come from this band of rain. And you can see the individual thunderstorms here. Toccoa, Hart County. I've got another thunderstorm area that's developed and moving northward through western Abbeville County. So rain is increasing in southern Anderson County right now. Some of the rain rates here are most likely 1 to 2 inches per hour. And so it's a situation to where roads get messy in a hurry, and it's not a situation to where you could probably see anything that was developing. So once these warnings are issued, definitely want to get to your safe room and have a plan in place. If you're in the upstate right now, there's no warning. So now's the time, if you don't already have plans, to think about where you would go if a tornado warning is issued for your area today. Jackie?
Yeah, that's such a good point. And also driving, if you have plans driving, again, as Christy just mentioned, sometimes this is torrential rain where you can't see anything. So it's very important to plan. If you plan on driving anytime this afternoon, you really download our 7 weather app so you can stay in tune with the radar to kind of see where the heaviest rain bands are. And another thing that Christy mentioned is what we've been tracking all morning is these tornado warnings. Some of them have been very, very brief. They've just quickly developed and then they quickly expire. And that's something that you can see quite often when you do have these tropical systems. So we still do have that tornado warning continuing. As we said, it's starting to the velocity couplets starting to weaken a tad bit. So we'll continue to see if this warning holds out until 11:45, and we continue to see also pockets of heavy rain with these storms too. So not only the tornadoes possible, again, nothing confirmed as far as tornadoes, but we are also seeing a lot of rain with this, and that's what we're seeing, just a whole lot of tropical moisture that we continue to work with. Christy?
Yes, that is correct. And, you know, a lot of folks might just be tuning in. And so it's not to be repetitive. It's to make sure everyone gets the word on what's going on, because we all know skies have been cloudy, rain has been coming down. But when there's a real threat to life or property, you know, that's when we really want to make sure that everybody is made aware of what's going on. And you can help that too. If you know people, if you've got friends in Northeast Georgia or anywhere when these warnings are issued this afternoon, tap them on the shoulder, send them a text of what's going on so that they can make sure they can stay safe too if they're not near a TV. And of course, always you can have that 7 News app to keep you up to date on breaking weather alerts as well. Still watching this one tornado warning in Hart County, not looking as impressive as it did a few minutes ago. Still moving northward, though, at about 30 to 35 miles per hour, so it's on the move. Eastern Elbert County has some heavy rain. We'll keep an eye on that storm. Similar story for Toccoa, but this tornado warning is in effect until 11:45. We'll zoom in and maybe get another storm track, name off some communities that at least need to keep tabs on this storm as it makes its way northward. It's going to increase rain rates in areas that are already seeing rain in Oconee County, and of course gusty winds associated with the storm. And right now the potential of a tornado associated with that as well. So around Oakway, Seneca, Long Creek, all these communities should keep tabs on what the storm is doing. And in general across the upstate, it looks like the threat for tornado warnings will be on the increase this afternoon. There's a closer look at that storm in southern Anderson County and western Abbeville County. Right now, no warnings out for this one, but we'll keep an eye on what any of these storms that are able to build high enough to tap into some of that wind shear that could prompt additional tornado warnings. Jackie? Yeah,
that's right. And so this is definitely a good time, as we were saying, to definitely have your plan if there are any tornado warnings, and even have a plan if you're flooding, if there's the flood situation. We'll always remember, turn around, don't drown. Again, we're looking at a 2 to to 5 inches of rain on average with these storms. The highest of the rainfall totals would be in western North Carolina for today, where we can see upwards of 5 inches in some areas once everything's said and done. And that's a lot of rain in a little amount of time. Landslides could be an issue, also ponding on roads, the flash flooding. So outside of these tornado warnings, we also continue to see the flooding. And Christy, it looks like GSP just canceled that tornado warning for Hart County.
Okay, that's great news then. Yeah, so yeah, that's fantastic news, and we saw that signature is getting a little bit weaker. We'll keep an eye on this band of rain. Again, that's going to be pivoting into the upstate. A tornado watch in effect for the whole area until 7 o'clock this evening. We'll certainly keep you up to date with half-hourly updates, and we'll be on all the time if additional tornado warnings are issued. Meantime, get the 7 Weather app to keep tabs on what's going on.